Fauza, Fauza, it's always beautiful listening to you and very soul-filling, you know?
We have been promised that we will never be alone. And sometimes in our isolation, when we are pushed on the wall, we don't know what else to do. We don't have anything to do. We don't have anything to hold on to. That's when faith becomes evident. Because without faith, we can't do much. And we can't see faith, but it's we have to believe, in the God of all impossible. And so for me, I actually think that if we are aware of how we are living life and doing life, some of these things we will be in a position to fight the battle in a different way, because we know that our battles, they're not against flesh and blood. So when I know that the battle is not even bigger as the elephant, but it's so tiny, in my head I will know that, okay, this is not so big, but how can I pray about it? Who can I talk to about this? Who can I share this situation to? Who do I need to contact for this? Because I always believe when we are born, we are looking for somebody, and that person also, they are looking for us. It's a web of humanity. So I always say, Roger, no matter what, let us not isolate ourselves, because that's when the enemy comes in to start telling us all the lies. But we know that at the end, even if I'm fighting, Roger, I'm fighting with the mindset of victory, because when I come out of this, I know I will not be the same. I will have wisdom learned, I will have knowledge, new skills, new friends, lost some. There is always something we can take out of any situation. Even in sickness, we learn something. How can I take care of myself better in every situation? And I know it's easier said than done, but really, if we know how to fight our battles, we will be conscious, we will be intentional on how we do life, knowing that not all battles they belong to me, because the battle has already been won anyway. So I'm fighting
Absolutely.
differently. Yeah.
Fauza, Fauza, it's always beautiful listening to you and very soul-filling, you know? Look, I wanted to ask you, I mean, both of you and me use war terminology quite a lot. I'm quite criticized about that, but I say we are in a state of conflict. Like you said, so much conflict is erupting more than ever, and it's becoming more and more wide scale.
Mm-hmm.
We have serious problems happening economically in the world. We have a food crisis. There is all sorts of things, pandemics, right? I mean, I think we're the worst we've ever seen in our lifetime, at least.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And and you said we are in war not against flesh and blood. Um, Yet we are at war where we are required to take action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And
Mm-hmm.
I came to Lebanon a year ago simply because I felt like I was a hypocrite. I was sitting in Dubai talking about what's happening in Lebanon while isolating myself from it. So I'm not living it, I'm just talking about it from far. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I started seeing what is happening in Lebanon, I thought that, if whatever money I want to make, if I'm going to spend it on I mean, it, and I wouldn't even say luxury is expensive in Dubai. Dubai is an expensive city, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to live there, it's much more expensive than Lebanon. So I thought like, okay, Lebanon is in a crisis. My family is going to need me. My daughter's going to, so whatever I make money, I'd rather spend it in my country because we have a famine. Literally, we have a famine.
Mm-hmm.
So now my question is always, if we are in that fight, if we are in that war, then action is needed. So I know now where I am in an immediate basis, people are fighting for their daily survival. People don't have access to food and people don't have access to specifically medication. And I know that you have the purpose of the book, a purpose in Foza Diaries. and there's also a purpose in the humanitarian work that you do with Fauza Foundation.
Mhm.
And I'd like to know more from you about what is your vision, but more importantly, we need to take action. So I would like us, Qasim is here, and Qasim is Reconnect's partner in Dubai, and we are creating solutions to create better working spaces, better schools, better, like safe spaces. So yet we need to do something for our country, for our countries, whatever. I mean, if there's anything, like you said, there is a crisis in your country, crisis in my country. What can we do? Now is the time for action, and we have a lot of resources, co-resources to utilize and to put into action. So I'd like you to tell me a bit about the purpose of the foundation, because I would like to listen to that message of purpose to me, because I'd really like to talk to you, of course, after this session about what is it that we can do on a daily basis to support our communities.
Yeah, I think thank you so much for that question. I think it's a beautiful thought. And I always look at myself growing up as a little girl, not having much, Roger. And when I say much, I mean much. Like I remember even having my first period, I didn't had sanitary pad, but I had to use a piece of cloth, and it's it's real. And I always say that you can speak of the things that you have experienced, and that's why our testimonies, they're solely belonging to us. Why? Because only us, we know how far God has brought us out from the pit. It's like some of us who were under, and then it's like the hand and the grace of
Absolutely.
God. It just, it's like this, and then come here. What you've been
Uh,
under there for a while. I
I
always
say God sends us. I say God sends us to hell for us to see what happens there.
But praise God for his grace and mercy. And
Thank
so for
God, of
me,
course.
I always believe that I can wait for my government to do something with all their intentions. I can wait for the people who they give us handouts. I can wait for I can sometimes we just wait for someone to come, but I always believe that when I read especially when I for me as a believer, and I know for you as well, when you read the Bible, I marvel. Jesus didn't just sit and wait, he went out,
Exactly.
and that's when miracles happened, right?
Absolutely.
He didn't just things just happened. And I think it would have been easier, like what you said, for me to sit in my house in Dubai, comfortable. I have power, I have clean water, I have my cute car, I can do whatever I want anytime I feel like. But what is that really fulfilling the purpose of which God has created me for? Absolutely not. And so for me, having that awareness, I realized that I can be the change. And the problem, Roger, is sometimes we are waiting for the big thing to happen. It's like what I said earlier. We are waiting for the big check to come in. We are waiting for the big, donation to come, whatever it is we are waiting for. But I realized actually I can start very small. And that's how I
Absolutely.
started. Why? Because I know it, I in my own capacity, and by the grace of God, I can't do everything, but I can do something. And that's
Absolutely.
what I focus on. So your question for me is, I want to keep and going, doing about the same in a capacity that it's impactful, it's economical, and it's repeatable. Why? Because when I die, the girls who have been helping with school fees, will they still be in a position to go to finish their school? So whatever we intend to do, we have to look at it in all different dimensions, really, because it's not about me anymore, it's about us, it's about them, it's about you, it's about Kasim, it's about the, the humans, the humanity you are, you are helping and loving and supporting. And so that's how actually the whole humanitarian work started, because I just didn't want to wait for the big thing to happen. I just wanted to impact in a small capacity with what I have, with what I know, um, with support from friends and families. And so far, three girls, they're in school. Because of that, it's not big. My prayer is to be able actually to build a school. And so
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, I have this land, who do I need to approach for the school? What is needed? And putting all those things in black and white. Because like I said, when we are born, that we are looking for someone, and that person also is looking for us. It's a web of connection. And whatever we desire to do, we can't just wait until the big thing happen, but just getting up and getting the next thing done. That is what creates that's what makes the difference, that's what creates purpose.
So, in the last year since I came to Lebanon, I've seen things and experienced things. Like you said, you said about your first period without a pad, right? There's, a cancer patient without cancer medication. I've seen an autistic girl also with no access to medication. I've never seen so many children begging on the streets. I've
Hmm.
never seen, like actually, one thing that nobody observes so much anymore, beggars in Lebanon, because people used to give money, they used to beg with their hands open. Now they beg like this. Just give me something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I'm with you. It's not about, like we were talking, Srijit was with us. It's about, and also it's one of, I wouldn't say a commandment, but it's one of the things we know. Teach them how to fish instead of fishing for
Yes,
them. So I think, like you said,
absolutely.
those three girls, it's not about teaching 200, but these three, like according to global change makers, each one person actually sustains 80 people. 80. So in such an environment, when you have one change maker, one person that gets the opportunity, they actually improve the lives of 80 other people. So these three
Mm.
are 80. Sorry, three times 80. So we've got 240. So I'm with you. On the humanitarian side or on the individual side, change takes time and takes consistency and takes faith in the
And
power of one
patience.
individual, and it's even in mental health and patience. And it's one life at a time, right? This is
Yeah.
what we can do. So I will have a discussion with you separately on this because I think we have a role to play and to help. But I told you I'm launching a book too, and since you're my last guest, and I did that on purpose. Are you? I know you're in a rush. Are you in a rush, or do you have like 2 more minutes?
It's okay.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I called my book Street Psychology 101.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why Street Psychology 101? Because I've been on the streets for the last 3 years since I went to psychiatric hospital. So street psychology. So what I observed, and honestly, I'll tell you why. I'm gonna explain. Maybe I will not read, but I want to explain to you since we're talking about books. So I don't have to move out of here and just stay with you. So every psychologist like that, students are studying in university were academics. They never lived a day of poverty in their life. They never lived on the street, but they theorized about it. All of them, right? Like, I mean, Sigmund Freud had enough money to spend on cocaine that I'm sure wasn't a day on the street. Neither did any, I mean, Maslow was an academic, was a PhD, and all of them there. Yeah, so nobody studied street psychology. So nobody started from a street user perspective. And You know, like if there's something I want to read, then I will share it with you actually for you to read. I wrote two poems in the book. One is called Kindness and one is called Unkindness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But the unkindness one is actually what I think resembles what I call street psychology. Okay? It's like the thing is, like when you need help, okay, but you are living at home and you have every. Okay, let's say this. Let's say this situation. So your friend, let's say, owes you money, but you have money. You have your access to your bank account. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let's say your friend says, "I'm going to send you the money on Monday." Okay, so you do have money, so you don't need it. So you say, "Okay, Monday, Monday." So if Monday she doesn't show up or doesn't pay, like it doesn't have any effect on your life. So therefore, it will most likely just fly above your head, and that's the one on unkindness. It flies above your head. Okay. However, if you're on the street and somebody tells you, "I'm going to give you your money on Monday," and they don't give it to you on Monday, what happens to you? More street. You're literally, I'm sorry, F word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the street, like acts of unkindness can just literally spiral you into a whole roller coaster of consequential results. So it
Mm-hmm.
flies above your head if you're in a place of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share this with you. It's actually called unkindness, since we spoke about kindness. And I think one of the biggest experiences I've had, and that's why I call the book Street Psychology, it's because I haven't had, and when I say homeless, I'm not in, like, conventional, like there are days I'm in five-star hotels and there are days I'm in, sorry, prostitution hotels. There are nights that maybe two or three where I slept on the beach and stuff. But homeless means I don't have a home, which I call my own. I don't have an apartment. I don't have a house. I started Reconnect. I was living off couches at people's house, and it's still the same. I mean, not for far too long, but now like I said, I'm under search warrant, so I can't even have an address. But anyway, what this taught me two things: is that to to see acts of unkindness as acts of unkindness, as in not circumstantial, right? So if somebody says I'm going to pay you on Monday, if I'm going to pay somebody on Monday, I make sure that if I cannot pay them on Monday, that I will ask them on Sunday first if it's fine with them that I delay a few days. If they say no, I need it, then I will sell a kidney to give it to them, right? Because I know that it could have an effect on their life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think um, so on two sides. On one side, I see a lot of unkindness from that place, but at the same time, I've also experienced the biggest occasions and experiences of kindness on a daily basis. Because I'll tell you what, even being on the street, I was provided by God every single day. I don't remember one day, maybe 2 or 3 days I was slept hungry and I would call it I'm fasting. I was never unsafe and I was always like free of anxiety, free of depression, free of everything. Like I'm now like kind of a refugee in my own country. And people see my expressions on social media and think this guy is angry, but in fact, I say I'm having the most enjoyable time of my life in that state, despite how difficult it is and how heartbreaking it is. So that's the reason why I wrote the book, and it's now about 100 pages. And so I started by saying I want to write one poem every day, and I couldn't do one every day because there are days when I'm not inspired, but I made it to 100 in a year. And the idea is I'm going to sell it not as a printed book because we can't afford to cut trees anymore. And I'm thinking of selling it page by page for a really cheap amount or in batches, like set of tens or something like the Arabic, 10 in Arabic or like five in English and stuff like that. So I'm launching it today, and I'm happy that I'm making that announcement to you. Because
Yeah.
now we can even say we're book authors, both of you
Yes.
and me. So we can,
Congratulations. Welcome to the club
yeah, we're
of
part of the book club now.
minority, the club of minority.
So I'm really excited to tell you about this and to read your book. I haven't had the chance, so I'd love to read it. And yeah, if there's a digital format, because I'm in Lebanon, I'd love to, like, if you do have it as a digital format. Or I'll see you hopefully, inshallah, when I have a passport in Dubai. And yeah, we'll exchange book information. So anyway, my book is launching. I'm going to send you a few pages to read because I'd love you
Okay.
to read them. And yeah,
Thank you.
Fauza, it's amazing as always having
And
you.
well done.
And I would say, always amazing to have you, my friend. And a blessing to be talking about purpose and God and faith. And you
Mm,
know, at Reconnect, we always talk about the spiritual dimension being one of the seven dimensions of wellness. And for
yeah.
us, spirituality, without necessarily a link to conventional religions, but it has to stem out of a belief in something beyond us.
Yeah.
And for me and you, it's God, and we say it. And you know, for you and me, we're guided by that power of Jesus as well. For others, it could be, you know, Islam or Judaism. But as long as we believe in that power that is beyond
Mm,
us, and we nourish it and we understand it and we learn about it and we express it, then the more we are in a mental and emotional balance. So our spiritual, you know, and this is for Qasim, you were talking about body, mind. The body will never be good, the mind will never be good if the spirit is bad.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're always going to suffer if you are in a spiritual imbalance. Because
That's
the
why it's
spiritual
three.
balance will bring you the physical balance and the emotional balance.
That's why it's three in one.
And of course, the body, yeah, the body is our temple, right? So we need to take care. So you cannot arrange your body. It's like an engine, right? You cannot put it on low fuel all the time and stuff
Mm,
like, right? So you need to. It's energizing. You need 20 minutes of direct sunshine a day for your vitamin D, so that reduces your chances of depression. And moving your body, but like I said, you know, it's not about disagreeing with Aiga, but I will ask you a further question. What is it that you will enjoy, and that will get you to move and exercise? And think beyond gym and walking and stuff like that. If you like to dance, dance. Dance is a form of movement and wellness. You can go to dance classes. There's five rhythms. There's flow with reeds. There is, you know, yada that gives, you know, like there's all sorts of things. You do choose what you enjoy, because what you enjoy will contribute also to your social wellness, because you're connecting with people based on things you enjoy, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so the body is our temple. We need to take care of it, but our soul is what gives us both physical and emotional balance. So
yeah.
that we should always
You
not
sum it
forget.
up well.
So
Mhm. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you. Thank you.
th-
Thank you for
thank you
having
so
me.
much, Fauza.
Mm.
Thank you, Fauza.
God bless you, and
Take
thank you so
care.
much, Fauza.
God bless you too. Nice to meet you,
Take care.
Kasim.
Nice to meet you,
God
Fauza.
bless you
Yeah.
too.
Ahlan.
Oh,
Au revoir.
Bye bye.
au revoir.
Au revoir.